Good afternoon. My name is Daan Weddepohl, and I'm the founder of Peerby. And Peerby is a website and app that enables people to borrow the things they need from others in their neighborhood in 30 minutes. I'm not really here to talk that much about my startup today, though. I'm here because I want to share a secret with you. I want to share a discovery. A discovery that took me almost 30 years to find out. Because when I was invited to talk here, I thought to myself, what's the one thing that I wish somebody would have told me earlier? What's the one thing I didn't learn in school that I wish I would have known before so that it would have changed my life? Not when I discovered it, but early on. So, first of all, let me ask you a question. Who of you can't wait until they're finally old enough to make all the decisions for themselves? Until you finally, you decide what to do. You decide where you're going to go, what time you're going to go to bed, what party you want to go to. I felt that way when I was young. I couldn't wait to be old enough. But somehow, I forgot about that on my trek while I got older. And I'll be honest. When I went to high school, I was not in a very cool school. I was in a school that I didn't like very much. I didn't really like the lessons. I didn't really like the homework. I didn't really want to be there or do that. And yet people told me, you have to do it. And the other messages I got is, you have to get a diploma. You have to study. You have to work. You have to get a house. You have to get married. You have to get kids. And what happened is I created this mental image, this idea about life, something I like to call a recipe for life. And I thought at that time, the recipe for life was something like this. Do things you don't enjoy to fix problems you don't care about for people you don't like. I thought that was what life was about. So I became pretty good at that. I worked in software, and for people I didn't like much, to build software I didn't care about. And it made me quite some money. I could afford a house and a car, but I was not very happy. Until one day, my life changed dramatically. On Valentine's Day 2009, so that's 5 years and 1 day ago, my house with all my belongings burned down to the ground. My girlfriend broke up with me, my job ended, and my mom got very ill. You could say it was a pretty shitty day. And suddenly I was left with nothing. All the things that I thought I had to do were gone. And I felt terrible. So I did what any sensible person would do. I partied. But that didn't really help. After a while, I noticed I still felt terrible. So I tried something else. I traveled. I went to Troy, the mythical city of the Trojan War. And like Odysseus, I tried to sail home. And on this trip, I discovered something. I discovered that the things I was trying to run for, the things that were making me feel terrible, the monsters I was fleeing, they were not on the outside. They were on the inside. So when I started realizing this, something magical happened. I started to embrace this nothing. I started to like it. Oh, there we go. I started to enjoy this nothingness. And when people ask me, what do you do? I said, nothing. It made me happy. And from not having to do anything, I started to look at opportunities. I started to look at, what do I want to do? What can I do? And new things crossed my path. I met a director called Lucas de Man, and he was making a play based on the novel and the movie Fight Club. Has anyone heard of Fight Club? Has anyone seen it? So okay, let me explain to you. So Fight Club is a book and a movie about a guy that's living a life he doesn't like. He's working at a job he doesn't like. He's got a boss he doesn't like, and he can't sleep during the night because he feels terrible. And then one day his house explodes, and he meets a guy that's the complete opposite of who he is. So a guy that's doing everything he wants, a guy that's free and just it's played by Brad Pitt, the guy you see in the back here. And they become friends and they start something they call the Fight Club. And the club is meant for guys who are frustrated with life, and they fight each other to get rid of this frustration. And then they decide they have to do more, so they become a terrorist organization, and they plan something called Project Mayhem. And Project Mayhem is about blowing up the banks, because that's who they think are causing all their frustration. And this director said to me, so what would happen if we would set up this fight club today? I mean, we had a financial crisis. The banks already blew up themselves. So what's left for us to fight against? And is there maybe something we should fight for? What's driving us? So we gathered in warehouses and we got people in there and we asked them, what's driving you? What are you fighting against? What are you fighting for? And a lot of people told us, there's so many things I feel I have to do. I have to have a career. I have to get a diploma. I have to get a house. Why do I have to do so many things? And we asked them, so who's making you have to do all these things? And they thought really deep, and then they said, well, I guess it's me. It's me that's making me do all these things. And we thought to ourselves, is there a way for us to stop all this having to, all this moeten, as we say in Dutch? What's the opposite of moeten, of having to? And then we said the opposite might be ontmoeten, which is Dutch for to connect or to meet. And to connect, to create moments where we can connect to ourselves or connect to others, connect to the world. And we thought, so what are these moments? How can we create a moment of having into a moment of connecting? And we thought of a story, the story of the elevator. Imagine you have an important meeting on the 10th floor of a tall building, and you're in a rush, you're too late, you walk into the lobby, you get into the elevator, some other people rush in, everybody stares at the floor, you push the button, elevator goes up, and then between the 5th and the 6th floor, the elevator stops. It's stuck. Then for one small second, you don't know what you have to do. You don't know where you're going. You just look up. You see the other people in the room. You notice yourself. You think about the world around the elevator. These are the moments that we wanted to create. So we asked our grandparents to help us. And where you go? We asked our grandparents if they wanted to help us. And they said, sure. So we put them on bus stops in the city to create little moments of surprise. So people would be walking through the city, and then suddenly they would notice a grandma on a bus stop. And they would talk to each other about what was going on, about the world. They would try to figure out if they were really seeing what they were seeing. So we tried to create little moments of surprise so we could ontmoet, so we could connect. And I started to think, so what else could I do? What else do I want to do to create more connections? And then I noticed I thought, what else is blocking us from connecting, from meeting? And I thought, it's walls. It's the walls of our homes. If you look at a neighborhood like this one, with 100 houses, then we cannot see each other. If we could look through these walls, if all these walls would be transparent, how many people would we see with amazing skills, with amazing ideas, with amazing stuff that we could borrow and use? And that's what inspired me to start a company. And I focused on this stuff because I thought, well, this is not just about connecting. If I make this about stuff, it could also be sustainable. Because we don't need to buy so much stuff, we just work together. So I thought of Peerby. And the way it works is if you need something, you can just... Is the movie playing? It's not playing. Let's give it a try. No? No movement? Okay. Then I'll just explain how it works. So if you need something, you just take out your phone, or you go to the website, and you tell us what you need. And what we do is we send out messages to your neighbors. saying, hey, your neighbor's looking for a power drill. Do you have one? They can respond with one click. And if they do, you can connect in a chat and pick it up. It's as simple as that. And what happened is we built this. And about a year ago, or 1.5 years ago, and now people all over the Netherlands are connecting. Thousands of people are connecting every day, meeting each other, exchanging stuff. And it's starting to grow. It's not just in the Netherlands. It's now starting to spring up in other countries, in other cities. And what I realized is that by this thing that happened to me, is that it somehow changed my recipe of life. And I think that we all have the right and the power to come up with our own recipes for life. And my recipe changed into something completely different. It changed into the opposite of what I thought life was. For me now, it is do things you enjoy, to fix problems you care about passionately with people you love. So I challenge you to come up with your own recipe. Thank you.